The United States has arrived late to the race. China has deftly maneuvered to dominate the electric vehicle supply chain over the last decade, particularly when it comes to the car's core component, lithium-ion batteries. So how did China pass everyone else in the battery race? What's next in the US-China battery race? Let's find out! Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Voltage. We are here to acknowledge you with all the latest high voltage car updates and their features from top to bottom, and also give you a brief analogy of them. So hurry up and subscribe to the channel and smash the notification bell not to miss any of our updates. With that being stated, let's jump into the business. If President Joe Biden's plans come to completion, half of Americans buying new cars in 2030 will choose an electric vehicle, up from just 2% in 2020. This lofty goal is both a climate imperative and an economic imperative. The Biden administration sees it as a critical opportunity for American automakers to capitalize on the clean energy transition. Lithium-ion batteries, which are ubiquitous in the modern economy, from cell phones to laptops, are now hot commodities on a larger scale. As countries strive to meet the 2015 Paris Agreement climate targets, the International Energy Agency predicts a 20-fold increase in global demand for lithium-ion batteries used in electric vehicles over the next decade. Chinese firms are ready to meet the surge in demand. More than 3 million electric cars will be sold in China by 2021, making it the largest market for the electric vehicles. And the country's battery industry is expanding at an exponential rate to keep up. China, once a laggard, will have 76% of global lithium-ion battery production capacity in 2020, while the United States will only have 8%. Meanwhile, global markets provide a stark depiction of the competition. The price of lithium carbonate, one of the main raw materials used in batteries, increased to nearly 500% last year. And a recent Bloomberg New Energy Finance report predicts that lithium battery prices will rise for the first time in a decade in 2022. All of this is taking place against a backdrop of historically high tensions between the United States and China. From the standpoints of the US-China relationship, climate, the US economy, and the American auto industry in particular, it all adds up to an urgent message. The US must rapidly ramp up its own battery business. Zheng Yuchun could be considered the poster child for China's lithium battery boom. Zheng may not be a household name around the world, but he surpassed Alibaba founder Jack Ma to become China's fourth richest person last summer. Zheng's net worth of nearly $50 billion places him among the world's top 30 richest people. He is the founder of contemporary Amprex Technology Corporation Limited, or CATL, the world's largest lithium-ion battery manufacturer. CATL, Zheng's company, and several other Chinese battery manufacturers have seen rapid growth in recent years. While lithium-ion battery technology was invented in the 1970s and 1980s by British, American, and Japanese scientists and commercialized by Sony, China has surpassed other countries to become the world's new battery production capital as part of its quest to become the global leader in electric vehicle manufacturing. China has invested heavily in the effort, according to the Center for Strategic and International Studies. The Chinese government has invested more than $100 billion in the new energy vehicle industry over the last decade. The majority of the assistance has come in the form of generous subsidies and tax breaks for buyers. According to Tu Lei, the founder of Sino Auto Insights, a consultancy firm, the Chinese government did not stop with funding for the cars themselves. As early as 2012, the government provided $214 million in electric vehicle research funding, primarily for battery technologies, as well as tax breaks for factory land. Simultaneously, China barred foreign competition. According to the Center for Strategic and International Studies, beginning in 2015, the government developed a list of batteries that Chinese electric vehicle manufacturers could use to qualify for subsidies. The list excluded Korean and Japanese battery incumbents. Taken together, the state's generosity and the sheer manufacturing prowess of Chinese battery companies have propelled the country to the forefront of the field. In 2012, Chinese companies supplied lithium-ion batteries for only 10% of all electric vehicles sold worldwide. By 2019, the figure had risen to roughly 50%. Chinese companies, which are frequently backed by the government, have also been proactive in securing mineral supplies for batteries. Lithium is primarily mined in Australia and Chile, where Chinese companies have invested to gain access. According to the New York Times, CATL also received over $100 million in loans from state-owned banks to establish its lithium supply chain in China's western Qinghai province. Similarly, cobalt, another important battery ingredient, is almost entirely produced in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, according to a New York Times investigation. 15 of that country's 19 cobalt mines are owned or financed by Chinese companies, backed by billions from state-run banks. The Chinese supply chain's dominance is even more evident at the refining stage. According to Bloomberg New Energy Finance Research, Chinese companies process 80% of global battery raw material. In short, over the last decade, China has developed and implemented a comprehensive lithium battery strategy. One of the primary reasons why the United States battery industry has lagged is that Americans are not purchasing enough electric vehicles. EVs continue to be more expensive than conventional vehicles, and Washington has not provided customers with the same level of subsidies as China. As a result, demand for batteries in the United States has been lower. This demand is expected to rise as more American drivers switch to electric vehicles and the Biden administration implements its own green technology growth strategy. However, at this critical juncture, the supply of American-made batteries is expected to be insufficient. China's now dominant position has sounded the alarm in Washington. With Chinese companies dominating lithium refining and battery components, the US electric vehicle supply could be vulnerable to future trade wars. And as the US military transitions to electric vehicles to reduce its carbon footprint, ensuring a domestic battery supply chain becomes a national security priority. Faced with all of these challenges, the United States has begun to become more directly involved in the industry, similar to the Chinese approach. The first significant government interventions came in the form of bipartisan infrastructure legislation passed by Congress last fall. The infrastructure package included $6 billion in Department of Energy loans and grants to the battery industry, including projects for materials refining, manufacturing, and recycling. The legislation could help boost electric car demand and, as a result, battery production by funding the construction of a national electric vehicle charging network. Furthermore, Biden's Build Back Better package may include an expanded tax credit for EV buyers in the United States. The credit would begin at $7,500 for most plug-in electric vehicles and increase to $12,000 for a car built in the United States with union labor. An additional $500 would be added for a car built with domestically produced battery cells. This federal push to keep battery production in the United States is part of a larger reckoning with China's rise. Nonetheless, experts believe that the United States will struggle to scale up battery production quickly enough to meet lofty electric vehicle targets. Benchmark Mineral Intelligence predicts that the United States' share of battery manufacturing will rise from 8 to 9% by 2025. One bright spot for the United States, the overall tech supply chain, is not a one-way street. In the most dramatic example, China imports more than $300 billion in semiconductors, a staggering figure. And the global industry relies on equipment manufactured in the United States and its allies. Still watching? We knew you'd love our video. Well, we'd be even happier if you could just hit that like button. Coming back to the scenario, what do we think about this battery race? As sales of electric vehicles in China and the United States increase in the coming years and raw materials supplies tighten, it stays to be seen whether either side will use its advantage in the future trade disputes. However, the risks alone, as well as the urgent US policy response, highlight the complexities of pursuing aggressive climate goals at a time of high US-China friction. We'd like to have your opinion about this. Who do you think will win the global battery race? Let us know in the comments. Having said that, we have reached the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If yes, don't hesitate to give it a thumbs up. And it's high time for you to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to get all the updates on our works. See you soon. Until then, peace.